welcome to Xena Warrior Podcast. My name is Vera, and I'm joined, as always, by my two ancestral co-hosts, Katie.
Hello.
And Livy.
Hello.
Ancestral.com. I don't know.
Ancestry.
This just seems very incestual.
Incestuous. I like
if
it.
we're your ancestors, what?
Well, not you, but, you know, thinking about lineage, thinking about parental stuff, like if your dad was Zeus.
Daddy, why don't you love me?
Right,
Daddy.
right? I think it works for this episode.
Sure.
What we will be talking about today?
What are we talking about today, Vera?
We are talking about episode 512, God-Fearing Child.
This, I must say, is maybe my favorite pun of an episode title. Maybe.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about it until just now.
Real funny.
Oh no.
It's a real good one.
Oh my god.
And you know I am weak for puns, and this one, it's a thing of pure beauty.
Now that I actually get it, it's really I don't know, grown. Well, yeah, I mean, yep, the gods, they sure are fearing a certain child, are they not?
Yes.
Because this is an important episode, because this is the one where Xena gives birth to a child.
Yes.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, eventually, and here it is, it happened.
I have to say, this was not the way I imagined it was going to happen.
No, me neither.
What did you guys imagine?
I didn't imagine Hercules would be there.
Yeah.
No Hercules at all, ever in my mind.
Herc's back.
Yay!
And what's the context on that? His show is over. It ended the previous November. Mm-hmm. So he's here to wrap some stuff up.
So they didn't get to wrap stuff up.
It's weird because, reading a little bit of the backstory, it sounds like Kevin Sorbo actually thought it had been wrapped up. His episode's finale. It's a very sort of feel-good finale in which he gets Hera and Zeus back together and they're happy and they make up with everyone.
What about that weird purple monster that's giant? Remember it's a purple gummy or something? It was absurd in the finale.
That.
We were like, this is their finale?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was absurd.
I forget. Why were we watching this?
Because we wanted to see it.
To compare.
It's really bad.
It's
It's dull and bad.
But
sorry,
that's
Hercules
just
fans.
Hercules, yeah.
No, but Kevin Sorbo thought that was the ideal conclusion, and he was so surprised to come to Xena and suddenly have to deal with all these complex emotions, and, dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
He was like, "What is this? This is not the show I feel like I'm supposed to be on."
Yeah.
So he actually had issues with it, and we'll talk about them as we go. But I had always sort of imagined it as what you're saying. Yeah, they needed to wrap stuff up from Hercules, so they had to put that stuff in Xena. We've sort of heard that about the Twilight of the Gods arc.
Yeah.
That whole thing was originally going to be a Hercules arc, but then Hercules got canceled, and I went to Xena.
Good.
But
much better there.
Yeah.
it is funny that apparently Sorbo was like, no, I don't need any of this.
Sorbo also was like, I owed them a Xena episode because I said I would do several when my show was on, but I only did one.
And they were like, okay.
And he's like, I was a
Thanks.
dick, I only did one, so all right, I'll do one now.
That's actually really, because I didn't read up on Hercules stuff, so that's surprising to me that the Twilight of the Gods thing wasn't organically part of Xena originally.
True, yeah.
Because it just seems so set up for the last year and a half.
But it makes total sense also to be on Hercules because that's, he's half God himself.
Right, which is why it makes sense for him to be here now, despite my not liking it whatsoever.
It certainly makes sense with just the amount of Christianity that Xena's been exploring, that you would then have to, on the other hand, here's what's happening to the Greek gods.
Right.
But it's true that, I always have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction whenever the gods get too much screen time on Xena, because I feel like Xena is a show about humans.
Yeah.
And, like, even someone like Ares, he becomes increasingly human. So you don't, like, think of him as, like, oh, yeah, a god. You're like, oh, here is the character Ares with all of his many, foibles.
To be fair, if they explored the gods in more intense ways than just like, oh, this is a god for this episode who does their shtick, then they would all become more human.
That's true, and they never exactly do that. They obviously do it for Aphrodite.
Yeah, they do it with the two that,
but whenever you
are
have
mainly featured.
The other ones, you're mostly like, boo. I mean, I do
a little
at
bit
least.
Spoilers, but like, Athena slightly gets some stuff, but again,
bit.
like
I found it disappointing, but spoilers, put a pin in it.
Maybe upon rewatch with a bunch of notes, you'll like it more.
That's true. It's very possible. That was definitely true for me and this episode, which I really disliked the first time around. Going and revisiting it and, knowing in advance that I was going to have to deal with Hercules for an episode, it's a pretty good one. Its strong parts are really, really strong.
Yeah. To be fair to it, they could only use Lucy for half of this episode because she also legit had a baby and was coming back like
a month later.
I mean, Gillian Anderson came back 3 days later.
Oh,
like,
Gillian,
come on,
that's outrageous.
I mean, it's terrible. She was very much taken advantage of. But they only had her for half the time, so they had to have a very strong B plot.
And of course, they'd never written a strong B-plot for any other character but Xena. The fuck?
Well,
the fuck? This is some bullshit,
Don't you
parrot that party line.
Did you want half this episode to be filled with Joxer?
No, not particularly.
But it obviously could have had Gabrielle in a B-plot.
So, listen, this episode, all right.
Or an A-plot.
Originally, I'm just going to say the stuff, right? So this is It's a story by Chris Mannheim, but it was written by, the teleplay was written by Robert Orci and Alex Kurtzman. Kurtzman and Orci are faves. And originally, like, Chris's plot seemed to be involving these characters, Xena, Amaris, Gabrielle, and Joxer. And,
Amaris would have come back for this.
That's... I don't know, odd.
How?
I know, wasn't the whole problem Cleopatra's going on right now?
Yes.
They don't have any of our faves to come in.
Right? So then they needed, like, something better than that, and they needed Hercules, and once that happened, like, they literally needed, like, the guys who wrote Hercules to, like, do that part.
Yeah, I saw a quote from Chris Mannheim that I interpreted as shady, but I don't think that was her intention. But she said something like, I wrote the original drafts for God-Fearing Child, and then it was determined that Hercules was going to play a major role in it. And since I had never written any Hercules, it was decided that I shouldn't do that. It should be Kurtzman and Orci. And I'm like, oh my God, Chris Mannheim could write Hercules.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard. It probably would be better.
Yeah. I was just like, who made that decision and why? That to me, I don't know. You don't want to, this happened 20 years ago. I don't want to make any assumptions. But Chris could have written this episode.
And it sounds to me like Rob and RJ had a little bit of, discussion about it too, where Rob was like, we kind of need this, and RJ was basically like, this feels like an episode of Hercules, it doesn't feel like Xena, which is a really strong statement.
That's strong language. And this is from RJ, who at the time of this episode was not on Xena, so when RJ came back with the pizzas, he saw the room on fire, and was like, what is this Hercules?
Get out, Kurtzman and Orci, get out.
Directed by?
Yes, this is directed by Philip Sgriccia? How do you pronounce his last name? Sgriccia. Philip Supernatural is what we should really call him.
Yep.
Because that guy, that's what he does now.
Cool.
He does a lot of it.
All of the Supernaturals.
Hard-working director.
How many?
Like 50.
All of them. Yeah, like since the beginning. Like, it's pretty crazy. Cool. So, let's begin. So Zeus is hanging out with the Fates. We don't really know that it's him yet. like,
That's
I guess
true. We just see his big ass ring.
Yeah, we know someone's there with the fates, and someone's like having troubled dreams. It's a man.
And he has a very Shakespearean delivery style.
He does, and he's like, zoom in on that section, to the fates.
I love how this was shot. I think it's like piano wire, and how it kind of glows yellow.
Yeah.
The way they lit the threads, I thought was really beautiful.
I liked this entire scene because it was kind of like one shot, kind of going from, following the thread, going to one fate who has a line, then to another one. Finally, the camera reveals who the, Shakespearean man is. And, surprise, it's Zeus.
Surprise, it's Zeus.
Yeah.
I also love how the threads of fate are tangled into this globe, which is like lit with all these different primary colors. I thought it was a really cool new visualization of that. I forget exactly what it looked like in the previous. It looked more like a tapestry, right? They were weaving it.
Yeah. Well, they had like a thread. It was like yarn. It was not piano wire.
Much more yarn. Yeah. So this is just a really different take, and it's cool.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
So the fates say, as it has been, since time beyond remembering, you will continue to rule, supreme among supreme.
The supreme.
Until such time as a child not begotten by man is born.
I am no man. It doesn't really work here, does it?
A time that's fast approaching. What do you say about that one? I don't know. If I could turn back time.
Oh, I see. I
don't know. So it's Zeus. Woo!
It's the same fate. Some of the actors are the same.
Yeah, they always have to change
one.
the young one.
Yeah.
The crone. The
crone
is always the same crone.
Yeah.
I don't know about the middle one.
I think the middle one's the same as sacrifice. I looked this up.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, some
Consistency.
nice fate continuity.
Yeah. These, let me say, are the fates not part of the gods? Like the realm of the gods?
That's a good question.
Because these bitches are just like,
they do not care.
They spent this whole episode being like, the child is about to be born.
Wouldn't that have been a cool visual if all the threads had, just like disappeared or been destroyed in some way?
Yeah,
they keep talking about like masters of their own fate, humans being masters of their own fate. What does happen? I like how Zeus is like, he has this line where he's like, I've always been the master of fate. I'm not about to become its servant. I thought that was
fate is his bitch.
I thought that was like weirdly like insensitive when he's in the room with the fate. I'm not gonna let these ladies tell me what to do.
I mean,
well, Hera is also there, and she's just like so fine with this. They were just told that the Twilight of the Gods is gonna start when this baby's born, and she's like, cool.
I think Hera's been working on herself. She's probably like been doing a lot of yoga. She's just so
Eat, pray, love.
She's okay with all of this. She's okay with everything. It's a great attitude. Everything
it's
ends.
Interesting.
She don't care.
we're supposed to know this from Hercules, that she's...
I guess. I mean, we do get some lines dropped in this episode as to maybe what has happened before, but like I know like from the little bit of Hercules that I watched, and that was like, early on Hercules, like Hera is just like these two eyeballs,
the peacock,
and the peacock feathers, and the like, like sound effect. She hate, and she, she just like.
I don't remember anything about any of this stuff.
She hates Hercules because he's, the illegitimate child of Zeus with whoever Hercules'
mom.
Yeah,
right.
is.
Yeah.
So she just, blames the child, not the dad.
Okay. And she hates humans because that's who Zeus has affairs with, like, in general. Like, she says that in this episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So she finally did some working on herself. She thought about this, and she was like, I've been blaming the wrong people all this time. And then she also got back together with Zeus.
I guess so.
And it had something to do with a grandchild.
Hercules saved her grandchildren.
Almost died.
Yeah.
I read that one thing.
Yeah.
She says it in this episode.
Apparently that grandchild is Ares'. I read that.
Oh.
It's just
then
this
what the
shows
fuck?
you that
Ares has a kid. What's the next episode about?
Do not mix
watch
your
Hercules.
Hercules continuity with your Xena. It just makes things bad. It just makes it bad. This is why you don't bring Herc into Xena.
Wow.
Well, it's also just like, why don't you just start from the beginning by just oversimplifying everything and saying that, like, well, this episode has good stuff in it and I liked it more than the first time I saw it. It just starts off being like, here's a dude with some problems, and then it just adds more dudes with more problems and daddy issues when, like, Xena's having a baby.
Yeah.
And I am so angry about that.
Would you say Xena having a baby becomes the B plot, really?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, the baby having is the B plot. Even the C plot.
It's
TBH.
kind of crazy because I don't think so. I feel like it's half and half Hercules and Xena. So it's like they're both A plots.
Okay.
I mean,
but
that's what the nice way of looking at it, yes.
I felt like
what would you call the Solon
emotional heart of it is certainly Xena having the baby and her feelings about Solon. And that's all very well explored. But I think part of why that's the emotional heart of it is no one gives a shit about Hercules. But it's all over there. Like, it's, it's the active plot. Yeah.
Yeah, it really, I mean, that, like you said, the active plot, like, that's what they needed, you know? And
they needed someone running around doing the action. But again, they have someone who could be doing a lot of that.
But you also want her to be with Xena. And don't deny what we got. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm talking about the actual birth scene.
All right, we'll talk about it. 'Cause I do have issues with Gabrielle in this episode. I think this should have been an episode that really could have explored Gabrielle's psychology.
Sure.
And, like, what it means, to have this baby in the world.
Yep.
And, like, issues that
we're coming to that one.
Yeah. They haven't exactly, like...
Get ready.
I really just wish they'd, like, seeded all of the emotions better throughout this season 5, because, like, if you really had, like, Gabrielle's journey of being, like, Xena's protector and, like, the baby's protector, and, like, what does it mean for her then in this moment finally when the baby's gonna be born, I feel like you could have had a really interesting journey for her character that then would pay off here, but instead, like, she's kind of just there being supportive.
Right.
Okay, so before we get into the episode, like, any further, I would love to discuss our Zeus and Hera here.
I know, yeah, let's talk about them, because they are pretty great, actually.
They're amazing, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not really sure when in the run of Hercules they finally... besides
Hera, I looked this up, and Hera's been around... She had, like, one episode in season 4 of Hercules, and then came back for some season 6, and then, like...
Oh, so what about
closed out
Zeus?
The show. Zeus, I think, was cast just for the finale of Hercules.
Wow, so they had so they only had Zeus appear on Hercules in the Hercules
they had
movie.
Previous Zeuses who he replaced.
So they actually had other guys besides Anthony Quinn.
I think Zeus has been appearing as a dude like for some time now.
Well, I wonder what number Zeus this is, but I feel like he's my Zeus.
Is he? Would you call him sexy Zeus?
Yeah. Did you
Zeus
see
can
that
get it.
hair? Oh my god.
That was his real hair.
Yeah, of course it is. It's like legit from like an ancient like Greek sculpture.
Yeah,
oh my
beautiful.
god. So this guy is Charles Keating, and he's like mainly known, I feel like, as dude from As the World Turns. He was on that soap for like a gazillion years.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Cool.
So it's always interesting to see soap actors.
He also came up through the Royal Shakespeare Company,
Nice.
so that explains
and he definitely
the delivery
used
style.
that on As the World Turns. So I have a weird special relationship with this guy because he's in this one episode of Providence that I very much remember. Like one episode of Providence really stuck with me, and it's the one where the main lady, what's her name? Kinnikerides?
Yep.
I know her first name, last name, Kinnikerides.
You got it.
Of CSI New Orleans? Like, what is she on now? With
One of
Gary
those.
Sinise? Whatever. You know her.
Not New Orleans.
Not New Orleans.
Florida?
Florida.
Naming
Florida.
states.
No, that's Miami.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. Like, CSI Montana.
Like New York.
CSI,
when it was
sure.
on,
That
when
sounds...
was on.
Garrison East seems like he'd be on CSI
New York.
Is that
cool.
still on even?
I don't think it's still on.
No.
But it was. That was like her
ages
last
ago.
job. I think that you would know her from. Anyway, there's this episode where she's like in a coma. And like, so she's like in the hospital bed. And that's her family's like around her. But like she mainly hangs out in purgatory with St. Peter, who's played by Charles Keating. And there's this amazing part where, like, he's like, you better sign this book so you can, like, stay here for, like, go to heaven or whatever, aka she will, like, whatever, die, I guess. And, like, IRL, like, in the hospital bed, like, she starts having a seizure. So, like, in the part where she's going to sign this book, like, her hands start shaking. Ooh, and it was, like, really cool. And she couldn't sign. And, like, that really stuck with me.
I assume she survives this episode.
She does. I just literally don't remember any other one.
Wow. Okay, so Charles Keating. So
that's Charles Keating. And he had that hair, and he played St. Peter. So, of course, he plays all the big guys. And so then Meg Foster plays Hera.
I love Meg Foster.
She is incredible.
She has amazing eyes.
Okay.
And an amazing voice and an amazing face.
Yeah, and she used them all so well to do acting.
Whoa.
But honestly, I feel like she was cast, if Hera was personified by a bunch of eyes, like...
These would be those eyes, right?
Let's do you and those eyes.
Amazing eyes.
They're incredible. So she's really fantastic in this like movie, They Live.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I love her in They Live.
It's really great.
It's so funny, we were watching They Live like after seeing Xena, and we were like, who is this lady?
Yeah.
She's amazing. We love her already. It's for some reason. Like she was Hera.
She's Hera. Yeah. It really, it's memorable.
She also
presence.
had a memorable tiny cameo in Twin Peaks: The Return.
She's working so much. If you go to her IMDb, it has like so much red on it, like which means it's filming. So she has like little bit roles here and there. I think now she clearly deserves much more because she's amazing. But I was like so blown away to find out that she was the season 1 Cagney in Cagney and Lacey. She's not the original one because the original one it started as a movie, like a TV movie with the woman from MASH who couldn't get out of her MASH contract to be on the show. Oh. So they had to cast a new Cagney for the show. And then so she was cast. And then in season 1, there were some problems. Uh-oh. Because, like, you don't think Cagney and Lacey, you don't think Meg Foster. You think of the next one, the real one, I guess. Yeah, so the problems are very fascinating.
Oh. Yeah, I'm stealing myself, okay.
Basically, it boils down to the fact that the suits thought it was too gay.
Oh,
Surprise.
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Her and Tyne Daly.
Well, specifically her, right? Tyne Daly's character is very much
together.
Married. Yeah. But
Like
they were like
chemistry.
but specifically like Cagney, Meg Foster's Cagney was coming off rather gay.
Okay.
Via like how it was. Yes. They said it in really crazy ways, like such.
Uh-oh. I feel I'm getting flashbacks to our queer baiting episode.
Oh, this is huge, yeah. By the way, the Sharon Glass is the main Cagney.
My assumption, having not actually ever watched all of Cagney and Lacey, is that it's still pretty gay. Yeah. Regardless.
That's what makes this so funny. It's like, I want to know, like, what was this that it was so gay that even the network suits noticed?
Too tough, too hard, and not feminine, an unnamed CBS suit told TV Guide of Cagney and partner Mary Beth Lacey. In 1982, when Foster was ousted after a mere 3 episodes, they were too harshly women's lib. The American public doesn't respond to the bra burners, the fighters, the women who insist on calling manhole covers people hole covers. These women on Cagney and Lacey seemed more intent on fighting the system than doing police work. We perceived them as dykes.
Wow.
That is a legit quote.
Wow. I didn't think we would need these coins.
Put them all
Does it
in.
work? Do we still use it for non-Xena related content?
Executive.
Wow, that was like rough, right? I mean, I couldn't believe that.
And that was 1982, you
I'm
said?
honestly speechless.
So they brought Sharon Glass in, and they told the executive producers to transform the character. So I guess like, her background originally was that she's like kind of like from the streets, or like she's from a working class sort of situation. And they were like, make her like richer so that she's more feminine.
Oh my god!
And so they had to like.
I don't even know how to unpack all of the issues with that statement.
Well, let me tell you.
Stay tuned for a Cagney and Lacey podcast.
They wanted Isles, and they had Rizzoli.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Okay.
So they had to compromise, and sort of they were like, oh, her dad is a cop, but like he got with like a rich woman to be her mom, I guess, is like, I don't know. I wasn't. I'm only
hate
watching
this.
season 1 of Cagney and Lacey right now.
Only with Meg Foster.
Yes, only Meg. I'm
The
a
OG.
OG, and she's so great. It's just really fun. It's a really good time.
I love that Meg Foster has led you down and Cagney and Lacey
Yes.
spiral.
Oh my god, it's really fascinating to see it because there's just so many episodes are spent with just being like, we just want to do cop stuff and they won't let us because we're girls.
Oh god, it makes you see how far they'd come even by the time of Xena, because that is never the plot of a Xena episode, even this one.
Okay, so let's get back to Xena. This is not a Cagney and Lacey podcast as much as I now want it to be.
Number 2.
Yes, scene number 2. Xena and Gabs are packing up their stuff in the morning. Xena has a little cute moment with Gabs. She grabs her hand, puts it on her belly, and Gabs can feel the baby kick.
Yes, this is very, very cute.
A drop kick, like his mom.
Like his mom. Aww, I liked it.
It was really cute reactions from both.
Yeah, Gabrielle's little face when she feels it is so sweet.
Yeah, it was genuine.
Yeah.
Like, adorable.
It makes Gabs remember her dream from last night.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
She remembered that in her dream, both Gabs and Xena were giving birth to the baby. So I think she should stop marathoning The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, God. Oh,
Yikes.
I'm putting in a coin for you, Vera.
Part of the quote was not, what was it? It was like, it was coming out of us.
Yeah, coming
at the
out of
same
both of us.
time.
Yeah.
And then let's do Xena's line together. Ready? And Xena's reaction is,
That's very nice.
which is delivered in such a way as she thinks it's nice and also maybe a little odd.
Weird.
It's in her inflection in the delivery, and I think it's so funny. It reminds me, there's this line on Buffy where Angel says something to Buffy. This is not a spoiler, it's just like a random line. He says something romantic to Buffy, and it's kind of has a weird quality to it.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor about a heart.
Take my heart and warm it take your heart and warm it with my own, or something like that. And then Buffy's response is like that's so beautiful. Or taken literally, incredibly gross. And I kind of feel this way about her lovely, nice dream about them sharing this experience together, which is actually really cool that it's in this episode and that she had this dream, and I really do like it. It's just it is one of those funny things where you're like, huh? Oh, I don't know. So yeah, it's very nice and also a little literally gross, but metaphorically delightful.
So it's really sinking in that soon 2 will become 3.
Yeah.
And Xena says that the baby's going to change their lives, Gab says that she's going to have to be more alert. She's super worried about the baby's
She jumps
safety.
in immediately. It's interesting that Xena is just kind of speaking generally. This baby's going to change our lives. They're, in many ways. But for Gab, she hears that and is just yes, I will protect. I'll be my very best self.
Yeah.
I really like
Gadriel's really kicking in.
This really set up a problem for me,
Yeah.
which is I was poor Gabs. She's just so in this mode. She can't snap out of it. This is the episode that I would write about Gabs, needing to kind of appreciate that there's more to having a child in your life than just kill everyone who comes near it.
Yeah.
Xena says that, we do find our fair share of trouble. And then you just hear off screen, the big trouble you found when you forgot to tell an old friend of yours you're about to have a baby.
What a dumb line. What a dumb friend.
So it's Hercules. It's Hercules. I don't really get how he could sneak up on them. They were sleeping seemingly in the middle of a road, and they would have seen him coming. But then I liked Xena turning, being like, "Hey, old friend, did you know I'm about to have a baby?"
I like that too.
That was cute.
She's cute. Their hair exchange is fine.
Well, all right, let's talk about it.
This is one of the better moments.
So Hercules, because, Kevin Sorbo, I should say, because he's no longer Hercules, was like,
Sure.
cool, let's cut this hair into like a really terrible haircut.
Oh my god, it's such a bad haircut.
It's very odd choice.
Really.
It's like a bowl cut.
It's a bowl.
Yeah.
Yep, he chose the Amish look at the barbershop. I guess you have to comment, and I feel like you don't really need to comment on that.
Nah.
Like, people who watch Xena haven't seen this dude in forever, so who cares what his hair looks like?
Yeah, exactly. So,
But you do get the
cute
comment
one,
on
yeah.
Gabrielle's hair.
yeah, he's like, oh, last time I saw you, your hair was longer. And she says, I could say the same thing about you.
I really hate Hercules. This is so rough for me. Also, we're like also coming from like a more of a later perspective of watching this show, where just like Kevin Sorbo is super canceled.
Yeah.
And like I just
Delete-
really don't like looking at him.
Yeah.
And I definitely get vibes off him of just not wanting to be there. And yeah, that too may be me reading into things that aren't there.
And
but
Hercules,
he
no,
just
it's
seems very
there.
not.
Well, maybe you're reading
Not
the
into
fact
it.
that he's like maybe like slightly bitter that this show's gonna go on for like 2
Yeah.
more years and his was canceled,
Yeah. He's
Have-
been canceled. His
Yeah.
show's been canceled. It's all canceled.
But Rob gives him a lot of props, being like, oh, he like came down without hesitation or whatever to do this episode. Even though Kevin Sorbo himself is like, I owed them because I was a
He sounds
little
grudging
bitch.
as fuck
Yeah.
about it. So I feel like Rob has to kiss his butt for doing the bare minimum, which
Yeah.
is show the fuck up, which is what he does.
Yeah. So he brings a little squeaky Hydra toy.
I like this.
Named Aeolus for the baby.
But that made me go, where is Aeolus? They
Who
never
cares?
mention it.
It's cute though.
Who cares?
Yeah, the little Hydra toy
I
is
do
cute.
kind
I
of
know.
care.
I do like Aeolus. I don't know.
But the Hydra's sweet.
Yeah, it squeaks.
The cute, like, little niceties are interrupted when both Xena and Hercules notice that there's some goons approaching, and he's like, care to dance? She's like, let's dance.
I like that too.
Yeah, and that was an interesting moment because it felt like he was actually kind of checking with her, like, do you still do this? You're 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Yeah. So then they dance with these goons. These guys are purple. They have horrific outfits. Like, this is costume
was
designers.
so bad.
Oh,
I didn't
she's
like
going to
the
town.
costume on Hera either. Or
I think that's, but isn't that like
that
kind of
from Hercules?
from
Yeah.
Hercules?
And
well,
I mean,
it looks like Hercules
these
then.
goons seem very Hercules, the proxitic.
Yeah, they
gang.
look like I think we call it like the Power Rangers.
Yeah,
goons.
this is, the way they respawn, sort of.
Yeah.
Everything about this just is so.
Yeah, they're purple. They're terrible. They have this voice, like really crazy
fly.
voices. They do all sorts of crazy kind
There's just
of
no
flying
reality
and
to
stuff.
it.
Well,
I did
it's
not
not
feel
real.
scared.
It's
Yeah.
Zeus's
You should
personal
feel
guard.
scared. These guys are coming after Xena. They work so hard in the course of this episode to establish that these Proxiticae are like unstoppable.
Right.
And you're
'Cause
like, ugh, they're not. They're purple.
Whenever you kill one, the rest gets stronger.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, the more they kill them, the worse it gets.
Gets.
or
Right.
something.
So like Xena and Herc in one kind of shot like grab 2 goons and they do their like
Synchronized.
synchronized.
Who sent you?
Yeah, thing. Like Herc lifts the guy because he's super strong, and Xena puts the pinch on hers. So that was pretty cool.
Which of these is a cooler tactic?
The pinch, obviously.
Obviously.
And the guy says, Zeus has declared it, the unborn child of Xena must die. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm so tired of like people sending their goons to attack people, and then the people are just like, "Who sent you?" And the goons are like, "I'll tell you." It's so dumb.
I don't know.
This is a dumb plot.
So Xena like sees that a goon is like vampire resurrecting behind Gabs, and she like throws her chakram and kills it, and that's how we find out that if you kill one, the rest get stronger. So they have to like GTFO out of there.
And I love that Xena's reaction to finding out how this works is she's just like, tremendous.
I know, right? So they run away, and Xena has a plan to, become invisible. She's like, oh, how are we going to hide from this? Oh, I know. Let's go get Hades' helmet of invisibility.
We've had this prop before. This was the plot of Mortal Beloved.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea.
I like hearing Xena play defense.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah. I mean, but what does she think? She's going to use this helmet, like, every day of her life?
That's
well, I
a
don't
good
know.
question.
Maybe, but for now, it's a good, short-term solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
sort
just
of.
needs to have her baby in peace.
So Herc gives some interesting info here. So if she goes to the underworld and goes into labor, that baby's gonna born dead. That's very bad.
That was upsetting.
Yeah.
That was like surprisingly just like hardcore
Yeah.
this episode to
As
say.
like a clock or like not like a countdown kind of situation, but like as a threat to get out of there, it is effective for
Yeah.
sure.
I feel like if I heard
seems
that, I
legit.
wouldn't go there at all. I'd be like, Gabrielle, it's all on you, babe.
Oh my
Bye."
god. Well, Xena is basically like, all right, dude, I'm definitely gonna kill your pops. You cool with that? And he's like, no, let me just talk to him first, okay?
And Xena's like, and then he has to like reassure her that he has her best interests at heart or whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
I think it's like because he like has a dead kid, right?
Oh,
So
right.
he's
Yeah.
like-
He won't let Zeus kill her baby because Hera killed his babies. So
Oh,
that's
right.
how that works.
So I'm
Okay,
just trying to bring
sure.
it all themes and
Yeah,
together and make
themes.
stuff make sense.
All right. So they kind of then whip up the plot of the episode is that the way to kill gods, we've found numerous ways throughout the, shows. This way is by taking the ribs of Cronus and
Who's Zeus's dad.
yeah, and you can kill him that way.
Cool.
Using that.
Cool.
So, because there's
Checks
going to be
out.
a theme of patricide throughout this episode.
Right. But no normal, mortal has found these bones, but obviously
Herc
Herc
can find it
can
'cause
do
he's
it.
not a normal mortal.
Yeah. Herc's a little uncomfortable about it, but you know what? The Praxiticae are coming. Those are the goons if we didn't mention it before. So Xena's like, all right, whatever. You figure it out. It's your fucking choice, Hercules. So he's like, oh, okay. So they separate into two plots. Mm-hmm. Plot A and B, but really plot A and A.
Okay. Plot
Sure.
A and plot A.
Let's
Yeah.
say that.
So, moving back to plot A,
Which one is that?
Xena.
Xena and Gabs.
Xena and Gabs, they come to the lake that they have to go into to get to Hades' house, basically. to get
Presumably
his-
the same one.
Yeah, it looked similar. To
I think it
what
looked
we saw.
different.
I think the lake looked different.
Yeah, it
but like it
did.
could have been the same lake shot.
It's supposed to be the same.
Yeah,
lake.
I think that like just within episode, it is supposed to be that same lake, even if it's not
Which
the same
gives
location.
us flashbacks of Gab
Could be.
sitting on the
Yeah,
banks all
waiting.
day, waiting.
Yeah.
And now she gets to come with.
Right.
How far
yeah.
she's come.
Xena is a little upset because, again, it's hitting her that, this baby's always going to have this, uphill battle to, climb to be happy.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty huge uphill battle. She
Yeah.
just found out that this baby is being targeted by all the gods.
She's pretty nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty horrible.
I like that Gabrielle can tell that something is wrong and asks her about it, but in this voice where she knows she's not all right, but and so kind of just goes like, "Are you all right?" Like, because she knows that she's not. It's a good delivery. I like it.
Gabs assures her that she won't be alone and that the baby will have Xena, to protect her, to protect it. We don't know what kind of baby it is
Haven't
at
had
this
the
point.
gender reveal
Yeah,
yet.
gender reveal party at the end of this
God.
app, guys.
Ugh. Whoa,
Coin in the jar for those.
Oh my god.
So Xena says, "I couldn't save Solon."
Oh, this is the best. This is the good time.
The good time.
Yeah.
Gabs has to give her a really nice pep talk,
Mm-hmm.
before they go to the underworld. She assures her that they're gonna dedicate their lives to protecting this baby, and they won't fail.
Yeah, this
Not
is going to
this
be
time.
different.
Toad's different.
We both have regrets about Solon. I don't think I should have laughed at that because it's not funny in the slightest, but it's pretty, it's such a line. It's such an intense, line.
Hashtag so many regrets.
So many regrets. I would imagine she has about that. But yeah, quickly is just we're not going to fail. Or actually, I love that exchange because Gabrielle says, "You won't fail." And then Xena says, "We won't fail." Oh, so nice.
Because Gabs is the dad.
So nice. Or two moms.
Or
Hooray.
two moms. And they I like that Gabs kind of does the arm, double arm touch, kind of gives a squeeze.
I don't want more dads. They could be two moms.
That's true.
This episode
You're right.
has
No
enough.
no
and
dadriel
Dadriel
here.
is a fun thing to say, but yes.
We need some maternal energy in this episode about dads.
Well, speaking of dads, Herc shows up at Daddy's pad.
Dad!
He's very shouty. Katie, you like to do an impression of this.
I just don't like the way he says Zeus. I don't know. It's like Zeus. Zeus. I don't know. It's annoying.
So this is an interesting set. It's like large and has a bunch of.
It's Mount Olympus, I guess.
Yes, it's Daddy's pad.
Pretty,
you know?
yeah. Is this the first time we're seeing it?
Yeah,
in Xena?
well, on Xena, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
It was fun to see. It was very impressive.
Yeah, it has all these shafts of light coming in, like in this Doric architecture.
Oh, Vera, Doric.
I don't know.
I believe it. I didn't get a good enough look at the columns to tell you.
So Zeus, appears after being shouted at, and he's like, "You don't understand, son. Xena's child is an abomination, sired by a force more destructive than you can imagine."
Huh?
Is that love? Sired by love?
Callisto.
Yeah.
Well, I know Callisto, but like ultimately,
I think he's
guess.
referring to, the Christian pantheon.
Yeah.
I think for him, he's just, it's this new thing that's coming in. That's the force more destructive.
okay. Well, I think it's interesting because I'm still diluting it to, love is the way.
Love is the way.
And
I mean, that is cool.
Jesus is love and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
so for Zeus, that version of love is a force more destructive than you can imagine. You also get a whole bunch of exposition here about what happened on Hercules, which we don't care about.
Oh my God, skip it.
We don't care. We just don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. All my notes are literally like, I wrote the line and then I was like, I don't care. And then I wrote the next line and I was like, yawn.
Oh my God.
I went through it like that. I will still take the time to write down all the lines, but
I guess it's
I
worth
don't
it
like them.
to mention that Hercules has said that he has been saying for a while that people can live without gods.
Yeah.
I don't know if he seems to mean that entirely, just no gods at all.
That's
I
true.
I feel like he only means the Greek
Or without the
gods.
Greek ones?
I guess Herc doesn't do much venturing outside.
Yeah, he
Greece.
doesn't know anything outside of Greece.
So for him, it's a very regional, specific
Yeah.
request. But
He
I don't
just
know.
says
Since
live
I don't
without
watch
the gods.
Hercules, I don't know how big of a thing this even is for his character that he says stuff
Like, there's
this.
no indication in his sayings that it means that they will then be replaced by, monotheism. Like, he's just saying, no gods.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Secular capitalism, yes!
Zeus points out that Herc has immortal blood, so like he could totally, die
Right.
because of this too.
That's a threat for him.
Yeah.
That's a decent threat.
But then he's like,
For a
well, I
character I don't
have
care about.
mortal blood too, so haha.
Shrug.
A shrug.
But he doesn't know which one is gonna
Yeah, he
work
does
for
not.
him
He does
if
not know
Eve
which
is born.
one. Yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting
Spoilers
if
of
he
name.
died from this?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
That was
Last
an amazing
scene.
choice.
Wow.
That would have been awesome.
Wow.
So Zeus threatens to kill him?
Oh yeah, that was actually a pretty good threat. I'll always have a special place in my heart for you, but that place could just as easily be filled by your loving memory.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then Herc is like, "You're not my dad, Dad." And then he,
Right.
pieces out angrily.
Yeah,
Yawn.
shunned him.
And then Hera shows up, and she's again really like super cool with the Twilight of the Gods happening. And that's where Zeus is like, "Destiny is what we make of it," just like my special boy Hercules always says.
Yawn. Don't care.
Okay, so back to plot A.
Yes.
Xena and Gabs fly into Tartarus.
Oh my God.
They slide down there, and it looked like it was that show Sliders.
Yeah.
That's the effect. And that's what it looked like.
I sort of miss the whole device from Mortal Beloved where they strip down to their skivvies
Oh yeah, they had to.
and swim.
Yeah, they definitely did not want to do that.
Want to do any of that.
Yes, can you imagine her in her bathing costume? All right, so then we go back to Zeus, and Ares is summoned to Daddy's house.
Good scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Ares in this episode is so much fun.
Yeah.
Is this the episode where he's kind of like, starting to be really good? Or did we already
Well,
have that?
I've always thought he was really good. But
Well,
you mean like the
you know,
character?
yes.
I think
More
this season
interesting.
in general is a really good season for him. He has a lot of
Yeah.
like nuance to play. Like, you know, you think about that moment where he grabbed Eli's bicep and
Oh, right.
had that feel. Like, I feel like he has just had a lot of standout moments that really show us, you know, the facade cracking. And Succession, I thought he was great in Succession.
I guess this one...
Him and Gabrielle.
Well, the thing is, I guess because there was multiple elements for him to play with in this one, like he has his family stuff and Xena, that's why I feel like this is like the most we've ever actually like seen of him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the real him inside.
Exactly. It reminds me, yeah, of, you know, when you like meet someone and see them always like in one social circle and then you like see them with their family or something and you're like, this is like a whole different person.
Yeah.
Like you feel like, yeah, he's suddenly much more shaded as a character. Like seeing him, you know, dealing with sibling rivalry with Hercules and just how insecure he is, like trying to like get Zeus's attention and affection, I think is, it makes so much sense.
And sidebar, clearly we don't watch Hercules,
Yeah.
so we haven't seen him on Hercules.
Yeah.
Where he often appears.
We hear he is very cartoonish there, whereas here he seems much more interesting and dramatic.
It's very dramatic. I
Yeah.
would say this episode is very dramatic for him. So he, you know, figures out that Zeus needs him to keep Hercules busy so that Zeus can go and kill Xena and her baby. And he's like...
he's not having this.
No, he's like, murder a woman I'm rather fond of? No thanks.
Right.
But Zeus counters, so fond of her as to bring about your own death. Like, this is such a great conflict for Ares. This is why it is nice to have Twilight of the Gods in Xena, because it really puts so much pressure on Ares as a character.
Ares is like, well, I will do this if you give me the okay to do what I need to do to stop Herc, which is kill him.
Yay.
And Zeus freaks out. He's like, no, he's my special boy. Which makes Ares go, what is it about him you've never seen in me, Dad?
I love that yelling. That was like, there's dramatic yelling that sounds dumb, and there's dramatic yelling that sounds genuine and great. And this is a great yell.
It's such a childlike sentiment, you know? Why him and not me?
I know. And Zeus kind of explains that it's not just you. It's everyone. Herc is a super special boy because normals love him, you know, the humans. They earned that love in every way without resorting to fear. And then Ares says, same, but about Xena.
Which is sweet. We've never heard Ares say quite this much about his feelings for Xena.
know.
It's obviously a particular surprise considering we've just come off the 2 episodes in which he was going after Gabs. So yeah, he's kind of reverted back to original flavor Ares, but like extra devoted.
Zeus gives him the okay to kill Hercules. So then Ares goes to join Hercules in his plot. They immediately measure their dicks.
Oh my god, yes.
Like, immediately.
This was probably Kevin Sorbo's best scene, I thought.
Yeah.
they had pretty funny chemistry.
Which is why I'm, like, kind of fascinated by the idea of, like, Ares on Hercules, because it's so different than, like, what he always does with Xena, which is, like, so one note at this point. Like, now it's getting better.
Dude,
like, now it's different.
It hasn't been one note
it's
in a
literally
long time.
Every single time he appears, he's like, lead my army, and she's like, you know, I hate you.
But that was like a long time
But that was like every appearance, like literally. So, you know, it's cool that this is different. Although
Right,
if he was
Vera.
like, I love you, Herc, I'd be into that too. So anyways. No, what? No.
Vera, you ship Hercules?
Hercules and what's his name? Eli?
Eli. Okay. All right, Vera. These are...
What? You just mentioned about him touching his bicep.
I mean, that was the
I was like,
scene.
oh, right. I remember liking that. So anyway, they measure their dicks, and then Hera shows up, and guess what? Hers is bigger.
Yeah.
Wow.
She fireballs Ares, and she's like, yo, Herc, I know where that forest of Titans is. for you to go find Cronus's bones.
Excellent.
I love that Hera's helping Hercules. This is the one part of Hercules' continuity that I actually enjoy, which is just Hera, who we know is the big bad of that show, like joining up with him.
Yeah.
I do like it, I admit. But I mean, a lot of it is that Meg Foster is so
good.
And I think, you know, when Hercules kind of questions her about why she's helping him, you know, those moments are so powerful.
Yeah.
She really sells the motivation here.
Meanwhile, in the underworld, Xena and Gabs walk into the worst movie theater ever.
Oh.
Like really gross facilities. You don't even get popcorn.
Yuck.
It's like
It's
the worst.
cocoons from Alien.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if the alien invaded a movie theater.
If the aliens made you watch like one movie for the rest of your eternal
Oh
life.
my god, I'm glad they're not that evil.
So it's these people are forced to watch the lives of those they left behind, which is really torture, you know. And she's like walking, like Xena's just like, that's what it is, Gabs, keep moving, you know, like don't worry about it. And as she's walking past, she suddenly hears her own voice.
I love the sound design here.
Yes.
Because she's just like, talking, and then you just hear, what does she say? Oh, shoot.
Oh yeah, I didn't write down the lines from Orphan of War.
Yeah, well, she hears her own voice.
Yeah.
You could definitely
It's cool.
tell that it's her. She also has a line where she's like, no one gets here by accident.
Yeah.
Which is interesting considering, at least in, say, Fallen Angel, it seemed like people were often getting punished by accident. So
Yeah.
I don't see why she thinks that about Tartarus.
Things are a little topsy-turvy here in multiple
Afterlife
lands.
lands.
Especially considering, obviously she hears herself and realizes that Solon is here, or she's right in front of him.
Right.
See, she like uncocoons him a little bit. You see his little face. It's a different little face than David
The one
Taylor.
that you literally see in the clip.
Yeah, that was
Which
maybe...
He's not too far off.
Yeah, they
like,
did their best.
He looks younger
Yeah,
Right.
he looks
than
a lot
Solon
younger.
ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a skinny little guy.
But
Yeah.
there's one of the things where it's just like, casting is very hard, especially in situations like this.
Yeah.
And obviously the original would have been too old.
Yeah, and he also had like braces.
Braces.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would have been okay if he was like slightly older and you just kind of, taller ghost Walt from Lost. Or whatever.
Right.
Sure.
But yeah,
You
braces
age
would have
in the
ruined it.
afterlife.
Yeah, braces.
Yeah, braces would be a little. Oh no,
but
the teeth torture of Tartarus.
I feel like if you bring in like a few kids and like this guy, he did it good.
He's good. He did
He
good.
looked close
Yeah.
enough, and there's no reason to like be like mad about it.
I think he does a great job. He has a sort of like Dickensian orphan quality that I
yes.
found very lovable.
It's because he's got like Tartarus like torture
Yeah, like
makeup
the
on,
goth
like
makeup.
gaunt.
Yeah, he
Very
looks like he needs
sad.
some soup.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah.
I
Some
definitely
vitamin
wanted
D.
to feed this kid soup.
Vitamin D supplement. Yeah, and this is heartbreaking. So this is really sad.
Right.
So they start talking, and we can go through the whole thing or whatever. But like, I just want to bring this to the table. Nobody gets here by accident. He says that Hades offered him some kind of choice after he died or whatever.
Well, he's supposed to go to the
he's supposed
Elysian
to go to the Elysian
Fields because he's a
Fields.
nice little boy who was murdered.
Exactly, and then Hades said you can go
He didn't want to go.
to the Elysian Fields.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like if you go to the Elysian Fields, they explain in this episode right here, it's like you're basically repeating the same day over and over forever. And you're, it's as if like you're just waiting for like your loved ones to get there.
Right.
And like
Assuming eventually they will.
Yeah.
when they
And
die.
like so you're not supposed to be like missing them. It's
Right.
like they'll just get here at any moment, you
Right.
know. And then the day repeats and like you just don't know.
Right.
I thought that was not very paradisical. That to me sounded like been there, done that. I was like, what? That's heaven?
No, but she wouldn't like if she didn't realize
That the day's repeating.
Yes.
It just, I don't know. That paradise
kind of
ain't
odd,
all
yeah.
it's cracked up to be if the best you can get is waiting for your mom to come home and your mom never comes home.
Well, I guess don't go to the Elysian Fields. Go to a Christian heaven.
Yeah. It's so much better
Well,
there.
Little angels and grab you and take you over those.
And
icky-
reincarnation, she's definitely getting reincarnated.
Oh
Right, is
no,
she
he'll
ever-
never see
So
her.
this is all an issue where don't think about it too hard. And then I don't know where it becomes a problem. I feel like a slight problem that I just want to work out real quick is, when did he make this decision and when did he create Illusia?
Right. You're definitely not supposed to think about that.
I never liked the Steve Sears headcanon about Solon creating Illusia.
Okay,
so I'm
but
happy
that's
to have this
That's not the
debunked.
headcanon. It's like in the episode.
It's said in such a weird way that you're never quite sure
All
what
right.
remember, it's like Gabs
but
is
you're-
like,
you're-
it's all him or something, and you're
Yeah.
like, what? What does that mean? It's never like explained.
All right,
She
but
sings a
why
whole
is he
song
there?
for
Is that
him,
that's
yeah.
not really him? It's like a
Yeah.
vision of him.
Right.
Is that what you want to say?
Yeah, that it's more about sorting out her feelings. He's
So
not
it's
like
not
being
really
there.
him.
Not really him.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Obligatory. It's always Illusia. The whole
I know.
show's
It's. I
Illusia.
like. I feel like Olivia is not qualified to answer this question.
That's how I believe
If the
everything's
like
illusion.
canonical explanation is that he
I
created
just
it.
never thought it made sense that he would create it.
I think it's a terrible
I
explanation.
always thought
I'm
that
just
was
trying
silly.
to discuss continuity here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it
don't
was something
it
that
is.
just needed to happen. Like some force greater than Xena and Gabs
Right.
created that world for them to sort out their issues and bring them back together.
I feel like that
All
world
right.
just
That's
exists in
fine.
that part of the ocean, and everybody.
right next to Married with Fish Sticks.
Yes!
neighborhood.
Yeah.
These things
Okay.
exist.
I just wanted to make sure that we discussed this bit. All right. So he immediately just went here to watch Xena.
Right, because he didn't want to lose her.
If
That's
not
nice.
missing you means not seeing you, I'd rather stay here.
Yeah,
It's very dark. It's very
it's
sad.
very dark. Yeah,
I honestly don't understand this though, because I feel like everybody would choose this, because
I
I think it's
kind
kind
of
of seems
agree.
fun. Why is it torturous?
Yeah, why is it
Just
bad to
fucking
watch
spying
the
on
people you've left
everyone?
behind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that sounds consoling. You
Yeah.
know,
I guess
hopefully
because
you
you'll
see that they're
never.
okay.
Yeah, but they'll never be with you.
Yeah.
and Illusion feels like you're assuming.
I guess
that
he's
they'll
stuck there
come
forever.
there.
Yeah.
So once she
Yeah.
leaves,
And
then
you are
his
cocooned
movie
in
will
a
stop.
horrible alien.
Yeah.
All right,
nest.
forget it. Let's keep continuing, because we're not even halfway.
So Xena's like, she's moved by this, but she's also like, oh my god, now I have to deal with this. Right? She definitely was not planning on this.
Her reaction is wonderful. She's great in the scene. I love her being
Yeah.
this emotional.
Yeah.
She makes a noise that's really
Oh,
amazing,
yeah.
like really like a moan cry that's
I
very
noticed that
horrible.
you don't see you just have the noise. You don't.
You don't
doesn't
see
cut
it.
to
It's
her
on
face.
Gabs. Gabs
Yeah.
kind of reacts to it.
It made me
instead.
wonder if they did some ADR there to make it sadder.
Well,
But it worked.
well, they had that great
It
reaction
definitely
shot
worked.
of Gabrielle who reacts
Yeah.
to that sound. Like,
Hashtag
yeah.
so many regrets.
Oh, Jesus
Real.
Christ. Rag rats.
But yeah, Lucy is really beautiful here, and I feel like it's been a while since we've seen this kind of level of emotion from her. So I was really happy to see it.
All right. Well, she's not having it, Xena. She's gonna take him and
Yeah,
put
she
him
has to
where
fix
he
it.
belongs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so now she has two priorities: steal helmet and put Solon in Elysian Fields.
And I like Solon being here. This is a great idea in this episode where she's about to have a child, to have her with her other child, even though they did kind of wrap up before in the bittersweet and whatnot. But
Well,
this is
I mean,
good.
in the bittersweet. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about in Them Bones with the little dove.
Oh right.
Yeah. But that was like the new baby.
But she did mention Solon in Them Bones
Yeah.
and Bones. So I'm glad that there has been a little bit of Solon continuity to kind of set up this appearance.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I know Bittersweet, you're right, did kind of put a nice kind of final beat on the, horribleness that was Maternal Instincts. But it was still like so fresh, that wound, that you feel like it's nice, years later to come back and remember this character and realize how important this was.
And of course, she would be thinking about this when she's
Yeah.
about to have another baby.
I think this was a really smart choice. Chris Mannheim, in her interview about the part she played in this episode, she said that her draft didn't have Solon in it, that actually was a late addition that they included for more, to give Xena's plot some emotional heft.
Good
'cause
idea.
All of it was on Hercules and his daddy issues,
Oh,
and Xena was just in another plot giving birth, and like that was all they had. So adding Solon, I think, was a very smart way of really giving Xena something to work with here.
It's interesting how the Herc plot is just so like male line focused. It's like all these dudes and like daddy issues, and then Xena is, I mean, obviously Solon's a boy, but like It's still like
Yeah.
very maternal, like
Mother
mother,
and
children.
child.
Yeah.
It also makes you think about Hera's role in the proceedings, how she says, that she's helping Hercules because no parent should have to outlive their
Right.
children, which makes you, again, think of Xena and Solon.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So the Praxidicae goons are looking for Xena and Gabs in Tartarus now. So Gabs goes to scout ahead, and this leaves Xena to have a little scene with Solon, just the two of them. She has to console him because he doesn't want to go to the Elysian fields.
He thinks she's just trying to get rid of him because she has a new baby.
Oh,
I know.
that's really cute.
That's
It's
so,
so
it's
sweet
interesting
and
that
sad.
they have to deal with, like, the talk.
Older child.
The talk you have to give to, like, the older sibling.
You have to be a big boy now.
Even
be
though
a
he's
good
dead.
big brother.
They still have to deal with this.
But Xena has just a really beautiful speech to him. She says, "You changed my life forever. There was a time when I wasn't a very good person. Then I had you, and you were so beautiful. You were so perfect that I knew I couldn't be all bad.
Aw.
You were a vision of hope."
No!
Very poor choice. Very poor choice of words.
I think the absolute worst choice of
Yeah.
words in the history of words.
This is that line.
It was such a beautiful. Up
You
till
should be
then,
like,
you were
"That bitch who killed me."
That's such a beautiful speech. Oh, Xena's so beautiful. And then she says that, and you're like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah, it's like the thing that Buffy said, like, when taken literally. It's very bad.
Jeez.
And then she's like, "That's what you will always be for me.
Oh, no.
A vision of hope."
I mean, in a way, yes. She'll always think about hope when she thinks about Solon.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that word straight up ruined in this show. And sometimes it's the only word. That's why the word was chosen to begin with. But even so, find another.
Find another word,
Find another
please. Oh, woof.
So they get to Hades' house, and
It's a trap.
it's a trap. Hades can have her baby bring about the end of the Olympic order, and we should note that this is the debut of Stephen Levitt as Hades 2.
Hades 1 is too busy being on an Australian soap opera, I think.
Oh man,
Something like that.
Not As the World Turns.
Hades 2, he's good.
He's
no
not
Hades
Hades
I mean, I
1.
love Stephen Levitt. We
Yes,
loved him as Flanagan.
right,
We
yeah.
loved him in many other Red
Right,
Picks
but I don't
programs.
think Hades is the right role for him. He doesn't have the gravitas.
Oh.
However, he's fine. This is what
However,
we get.
he's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, some more Praxidicae fighting.
Yeah.
There's a good Gabs fighting. I don't know if this is it or later, but she fights good.
I think this is it.
She does the like
arms
good
look amazing.
arms, good
Yeah.
side twirls.
She has to
Like,
do all the stuff. It's
really
great.
great.
It's perfect. She has a moment where she goes and snatches that helmet and becomes invisible.
Yes.
And you got the old
Comedy.
stunties
Goons
dropping
punching
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
It works. It works for me. And it's great that Gabs gets this hero moment in this episode, which, as I've already complained about, like, she doesn't get to do all that much. So it's fun to at least see her do these hero things.
So cutting back to Hera and Herc, they're having a walk and talk through this forest. Hera fills us in on some like mythology stuff about Cronus.
Yeah.
Basically
It's
that.
very Adam's Ribby.
Yeah, like it was cool.
It's
like,
cool how it works.
Yeah, he took his own rib because he needed to pierce the darkness to give light to the world.
I like that light spilled like blood.
Yeah.
That sounds like not a good thing when it seems like it is a good thing.
Right. And then, of course, Zeus killed him with that same dagger.
Well,
Womp.
This is also where Hera gives her speech about why she's helping. And she has that line about how she, like, resented mortals because
Right, because
yeah.
would always fuck them.
That's crazy. Like all human beings, because sometimes Why did Zeus always turn himself into like animals to fuck the women?
He definitely has some fetishes.
I don't get why
Right?
it says why she says she's proudest of humans as her creation, or Zeus is great. They didn't create. Who created humans? That's not. They didn't do that. She seems to say they did.
No. Did they not?
I don't know. I feel like they didn't. Did they?
I don't
guess
know the
they did.
origin myth.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, my note just says humanity is the only thing she's truly proud
I
of.
don't know.
Mother? Question mark.
I couldn't even remember her name, so don't ask me. I
You
don't
can
know
remember
mythology.
Hera?
No.
Prometheus
I
stole
couldn't.
fire for them.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I guess so. I guess they did. Sure.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know. I
Yeah.
guess I buy it, but I am sort of like, oh, how did that work? You know, Zeus and Hera created humanity together, so all of humanity is like their kid.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mother?
And then,
question
and
mark?
then Zeus fucks the kids, and
Ooh.
Hera's like, this is gross, I hate them. All
Yeah.
right.
But now she likes them again.
And now she's just decided she's really proud of them for reasons
Yeah.
we don't know, and I guess maybe don't care all that much about because it sounds like Hercules stuff.
Okay. So Zeus finds passed out Ares. He's very upset.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Ares passed out is like mumbling things that sound slightly sexy.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, baby.
Of course he would be. He lifts him by the neck and starts like interrogating him.
Who sent you? Who sent you?
But I mean, yeah, it's the same move,
Yeah.
right? And he gets the info that Hera is helping Hercules.
And also Ares is all like misogynist, being
Yeah.
like, Hera, she's a woman, they suck, they never want to do what you want to do. It's the worst.
And Zeus is like, uh-oh, she's gonna go for them Cronus ribs.
I could go for some ribs right now.
So now he has to do the dirty work himself. And so he's like, leaves, and we're left with this like amazing beat with Ares, you know, as he watches Zeus kind of like walk away. He's rubbing his neck, and I thought it was this like amazing moment of like, you know, child abuse. It was like definitely a beat of that. And
Yeah.
I forget what he mumbles, something like, well, dad or something like that.
Yeah.
But just the fact that he was like rubbing his neck, like that was a little bit, that was like a deep moment.
It gives you some insight into how Ares became the way he is. I mean, these are his parents. They
Yeah.
suck. These are some shitty
Right.
parents.
And like even though Ares looks like beefy Kevin Smith, who could take, you know, as the world turns guy, like he still technically is afraid of him.
yeah,
Right.
he is,
Yeah.
he's not as powerful as him, and clearly idolizes him.
Yeah. Okay, so Herc and Hera, they stop in a field, and Hercules is like, what the fuck? Why are we stopping? And she reveals this like rock wall and opens it up, and that's like where the Skeletor is laying.
I don't get how there's an invisible rock wall. Wouldn't
Well,
mortals be walking into it?
Birds just
I know.
Whatever.
Don't ask too many questions.
It's fine.
Not nice for the birds.
He's like, he can't forgive her for murdering his family, but is grateful for her help here, and that she says Zeus will know that, you know, this is where they're going to be going. So, like, let's do this fast because he's going to be coming for us.
It's just so funny because, like, they're gods. Can't they just teleport in?
I know, right? He's, like, walking through the forest.
Slowly making his way.
Whatever, because, like, I'm counting on it.
So that's why you shouldn't have plots involving gods.
Meanwhile, Ares goes to find Xena and Tartarus.
This is my favorite scene, yo.
Yay.
Why don't you talk about
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
it then? Oh, yeah.
So, okay, they're in this tunnel, which I immediately this episode hasn't had a lot of, like, visual interest for me. It's a pretty, like, cut and dry episode.
Yeah.
But I loved this set. I loved this tunnel. I just loved how it looked. It gave you this sense of kind of claustrophobia. You know, you just have Xena, like, trying to run through with Solon to freedom for him. And, like, the fact that Ares walks up and blocks the way to have, like, an emotional scene with her. You already, like, felt Xena's pain of,
Right.
like, must we do this
Yeah.
now? But
Right.
for Ares, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, got to
Yeah.
do it. So he tells her that he wants to protect her unborn child from the other gods. He's had a falling out with them, and he's taking her side. And finally, he admits that he's always had a thing for her, which
Right.
I don't know if he's quite been so straightforward about that. And Xena's like, for me and
my friend. I loved that. She really does not drop that.
I love that it doesn't get dropped because otherwise it basically is. You're never going to hear really about him and Gabrielle and their moment again. But I like that Xena's like, no, dude, like, why am I going to be into you now? You literally were just trying to seduce my quote unquote best friend.
Yeah. He says he's having urges that he's not really proud of.
It's one way to put it. And she's like, you stalking me is not helping the trust factor any, and that she's never going to become his little warrior queen.
Oh, man, yeah.
Which is the stuff that he had put on the table in, like, season 1.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already declared many times that he doesn't actually want that from Xena, but I see why she can't fathom that he would actually just, want nothing from her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But her love.
Right. He also kind of is like, well, what if I was mortal?
Yeah.
Which
he's
weird.
afraid of that.
He sees Twilight of the Gods as meaning, not his immediate death, but that he would just
be mortal.
But I guess anyone who realizes that their death is going to come at some point soon is, by definition, mortal. He's mortal now.
No, like he would, because he could just like lose his godhood and just be like a regular dude. Like if you're a vampire, right? If you're a vampire and then you like whatever drinking juice and you're no longer a vampire, you're just like a regular person, like
which is sort of what the vision of the future he's outlining for.
Yeah.
He could just be a human man.
And
if he were, he'd want to live with her. And I love that he sort of says all this, and you just see this sort of silent, like, no, you look on her face, and then she tries to just push past him to keep going down the tunnel.
Right.
Which I thought was great. She has Solon there, he's literally just watching all this, being like, what?
Yeah.
And it's all this talking.
I like how kind of like angry, she was. She's like literally spits at him, being like, you stop it.
Well, she doesn't believe him.
Yeah, she just thinks it's garbage, which is fair. Yeah, it does. Yeah. He's said shit, not exactly like this, but he's just said so much shit to her.
Right.
And it's always some kind of manipulation. And of course, this is very manipulative.
Right.
Even now.
There always is going to be that element, because that's who he is. And it doesn't mean that it's not, he wants things, and he can also be genuine. When I feel like there's like a debatable level of what his desires are for some people, I truly do believe that he loves her. Why wouldn't he? Yeah. Even in this scene,
have you seen her?
Where he's just like, I love the way it all like kind of like blurts out. Where he's like, I have feelings for you, okay? Like, I see your face everywhere. And she's like, stop it!
She's like, no,
stop doing this shit. Just say you love me, and he won't until she's
that
gone.
She turns it around on him, which I think for her that she's basically saying, do something more selfless. Don't just be like, just say something nice to me.
Right. And he can't until she leaves.
And I wonder why he can't. Because he said so many.
I think because he's genuine and he means it, and he can't to her face right now.
And also because she's just not taking it seriously.
Exactly.
I feel like, she turns it around him in this way where it just seems like it's to humiliate him. And he can't bear to kind of go with that.
It's sad. It's sad when he says, I love you, Xena, to the empty tunnel.
But I also love that, in being angry at her, he then has this line where he's like, I thought in your present condition you'd be a little more gullible.
Ooh.
He kind of...
Oh, that's when she's like, I'm pregnant, not brain damage.
He deliberately reverts to kind of like old Aries. And I think it's a facade.
Yes,
he's just saying,
that's a total facade.
I'm trying to trick you with your pregnancy. And it's like, you weren't, dude. Like, you obviously weren't. You're just saying this because you'd rather be that asshole than be a vulnerable man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then, as you say, Katie, that final beat of him alone and not only just saying, I love you, finally, like when he's not being listened to, but how we stay on him and you see him walking away down this sad tunnel. It's just really good. It's a beautiful image and, really wonderful acting on the part of Mr. Kevin Smith. Mm-hmm. And I like to think that Chris Mannheim wrote this scene because it's really well done.
And very hetero.
Come on.
It's just so key for the character.
Leave it alone.
It just seems to me very plugged into the history of this relationship, which we know Chris Mannheim has been really stewarding.
This is an acceptable, like, Jocks or Gabs is a different story, which we're going to talk about so much next week. But I feel like you can't throw the agenda on Xena Ares. It's too big, too like
It's very tied
important.
into the actual plot of the whole show.
It's, Xena is Xena.
So I love then that Gabs reappears. Just like,
Right. What if she's been like watching this whole
can
thing
you believe
in
that?
the helmet?
I totally believe it. I would love someone to write that fic where Gabs is
man.
the fly on the wall for the Xena Ares confrontation and just like doesn't take off her helmet.
Oh my god.
Oh, it'd be so good. And Xena picks this moment to start going into labor.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, they're like right where the hole to the Elysian Fields is. Yeah. And of course, all the Praxidicae
Yeah,
are
why
there.
are there a hole? Why?
Yeah, there's just like a hole through Tartarus to
Stupid
the
design.
Silly.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I guess like in Fallen Angel, you could just plummet to your
All
like
these
hell
afterlives
doom
have
by
been
accident.
terrible. So you need to get an architect in there to just like do some
Right.
interior decorating. My goodness.
Everyone's there now. Hades is there. The Praxidicae are there. And as you said, Xena's like starting to go to labor. And
Which of course is scary. 'cause
Yeah,
She
exactly.
can't have the baby in Tartarus.
Right, but she needs to get Solon through the hole to the Elysian Fields. And so she's like, okay, take this helmet and like put it on. And when I say go, right, you gotta wait for me to tell you to go.
This is a big choice that she gives up, the safety she wanted. Like, and also her way to kill Zeus, right? That was the thing.
Right,
She was going to
yeah.
be invisible and have like the Cronus
Yeah,
rib
yeah.
and stab him or
Exactly.
something. Like she gives all of that up for Solon, for Solon to be where he's supposed to be.
Solon makes her promise to never forget him.
Oh.
And then he whispers something in her ear, which prompts her to say, "That's a great idea."
This is how you talk to the older child. This is how it
Sure.
works. My sister named my brother.
Oh my
little
God.
brother. Yeah.
How did she come up with that name?
She came up with his middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was just a name she liked, and my parents were like, "Okay,
All
whatever
right.
makes you feel good about this, older child."
All right. Well, I have no idea how Solon came up with this name, but we'll circle back to it. So Xena draws the Praxidicae and Hades' attention so that Solon can, put on the helmet and run to the hole. Guess what? It works.
Yeah, and then you see him kind of post makeover on the
Yeah.
other side of the hole.
Yeah.
It's very
Sunlight,
sweet.
vitamin D.
Yes, like a shower.
Looking a lot better. And he like sees her and is like, "When are you coming home?" Because paradise sucks. It's literally just sitting around waiting for your parents to come
I
home.
know.
But if you're in the Elysian Fields, do you can see those doors? If you're
I
right
know,
next to
that
them?
again,
Then
it's so
shouldn't everybody there
weird.
be like, what the fuck is that door?
Yeah, what's the door? Why are there guards standing there all the time? Am I in prison?
I don't know. Don't think about it.
And they try to touch each
Don't
other
worry
through
about
the
it.
barrier.
Aw.
It's a
Very
sweet,
sweet.
moment. It reminded me a bit of Bittersweet, the waterfall scenes. But then Xena's going into labor, so they gotta get out. They gotta
I
get
do
out.
like that there's a crossover beat of her being like, that's the moment when he turns and leaves. So she's reacting to him turning and leaving, and then she also has this labor pain with it, so that it kind of becomes this like,
that's
I don't know, it's a good mixture of emoting noise that like, I don't know, it's a good, I don't know, it's a good beat.
Lucy Lawless makes real good noises.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay, so her grabs Cronus's rib, and then Zeus shows up. He conveniently lightnings it into a dagger shape.
Great.
Zeus is so dumb.
And we find out that the rib can like absorb like his lightning bolts, which kind of reminded me of when Xena in the fight to like get Solon to the Elysian Fields, she like blocks Hades' like lightning.
Oh, with the
with the
chakram, right?
chakram, like his fireball.
And like knocks him out.
Yeah,
a bit.
she
I mean, that was cool. It's cool to see Xena even just take out a god for a minute. You're
Yeah,
like, wow, this
yeah.
lady, she's in labor and taking out gods.
So Zeus is like, oh, whatever, my Praxidicae will kill Xena any moment. And then Hera firebolts him, and she says, I will not be responsible for the death of another innocent child. And then so like she completes her redemption arc, as we mentioned, and tells Hercules to go help Xena.
Is that about Hercules? Or some
Yeah,
other
because
Hera
she killed his
Right.
family.
Right. So
And
that's
he
what
just
she's talking
said,
about.
he literally just said, I
That's
will
some
never
other
forgive
Hera
you.
plot. Okay.
No, but
I'm
he was
just
like, I'll
making
never
sure.
forgive you about that. And then so she's like, okay, I won't kill any other ones. So she tells Herc to go run to Xena and that she'll handle Zeus here. And, he's like, well, you gonna be all right? And she's like, he's probably gonna kill me. So
Make
it's
out
fine."
/ kill me.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The scene where he kills her is strange.
It's very interesting. I guess we can talk about
Yeah,
that
let's
now.
just do
Sure,
it.
why
The
not?
swirly tornado?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Swirly tornado death.
The lazy Susan of murder.
Yeah. I know. Okay.
Do, death.
Weather, I guess.
Weather.
The worst E360 glam cam experience
Oh!
They still do that.
ever. I don't know. But
Did he like suck out her life with his mouth?
I think so. I mean, in a way, like, I have to be honest with you, I thought it was really fascinating to watch that. It was like they kissed, but they danced. It was like the dance of death.
It felt like a dance. That's good. Dance
yeah.
of death. Very Edgar Allan Poe, yeah.
And it was sad, and it's just weird because she's just so like resigned to this. Like she doesn't fight any of this whole
Well, she's
episode.
been resigned the whole time, right?
Yeah.
She says, everything has its end. So I think.
Well, I guess like I don't know, maybe she was okay with like the baby doing it, but like the fact that like Zeus just murders his wife right here, I don't know. She's fine with it.
Yeah, doesn't make Zeus look very good, does it?
No.
I miss Hera already. She's really the one good thing about this Herc plot.
It's true. All right, so Xena is in labor now, and like, let's talk about this business here. So I just absolutely love how she comes out of Tartarus.
Yeah. Gabs immediately is like supporting her. Lots of arms wrapped around, lots of
Yeah.
good stuff. Very intimate.
Having them labor pains, but all those Praxidicae are there.
Yeah.
So she, amidst all of this, has to fight them, and it is so badass.
It's so
like,
great.
I can't even
I have to point out,
it.
I was very surprised that several of the commentaries on Whoosh did not like her being able to fight as a pregnant woman and wanted more pregnancy realism. And to that I say, why? She's Xena.
Yeah.
Why?
This to me felt very true to every other thing Xena's ever done.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Like that there were like 3, I believe, that were like, she should be more realistically pregnant. And I was like, no.
I think that
she's Xena.
the strength of this episode is that it's showing us Xena as this extreme powerful person.
Yeah.
Right? She's the heroine of this show. This is her show. And while she's pregnant and needs to have like Hercules fill up, the action plot, she still comes off as like doing like the most incredible thing in this episode.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is not only giving birth, but like doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And like, not to be like this, but like, there was an episode of A Handmaid's Tale where like, you can like be killing wolves and also having a baby at the same time. Like, women are so incredible.
And
She didn't kill that wolf.
No,
spoiler.
but whatever.
She could have.
Oh my god. Sorry.
But yeah, I agree. And also it's just like Xena, like the whole idea of this episode is that this baby is going to be in danger like every day of its life, including the moment it's born. Of course Xena is going to be fighting. Like that's who Xena is. Like I feel like if Xena had been more quote unquote realistically just like, I don't know, like in pain and lying down the whole episode, you'd be like, this isn't the
They wanted like
character.
a full 24-hour birth.
Yeah.
Instead of like a 5-minute birth.
Okay, that's the
not
character.
need that.
And also, I feel like what does that mean? And what does that mean? Like everyone is like all of a sudden incapacitated. And I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't need to see that.
I thought it was a absolutely gorgeous scene where like this fucking pregnant lady who is like starting to give birth is fighting these guys, killing these like Praxidicae. Like it's like right next to Hercules. Like it was just the two of them, and it was. I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love that, only at the last second is it like, okay, better like take my armor off, take those arm
Right, well,
guards
like
off.
at a certain point, she needs to sit down.
Are we just going to talk about that whole thing
Yes,
straight through?
we're
or
doing
are we
it,
going
we're
to
doing
talk
it.
about how it cuts back?
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that much like her last birth scene, this one is also intercut with a man dying,
I
basically.
had not made that connection. It's so good. In Cast Imperfect.
But that's her. That's so related to her as a character.
Yeah.
And it's about her.
Right.
And not about fucking Hercules' daddy.
It's also about
issues.
Citrina. Never forget.
This just felt like, can we get into it? Because I like this episode more the second and third time I watched it than the first time, because the first time I watched it I was just so blinded by anger at having so much Hercules in this episode that should have been focused on Xena and Gabrielle and this baby being born, that to have this entirely beautiful intimate scene of her and Gabrielle intercut with this stupid bullshit of Hercules and Zeus made me so mad, because it just seemed like they didn't want to
show
be
it, yeah.
but what you do have is really great, so I don't think that that's the case, but it just felt like it could have been more. It could have been all that, or you know what I mean? It just
I didn't want
really
to be pulled
bugged
out
me.
of the moment.
Yeah, and you kept feeling you get pulled out over and over again because you have this big fight going on. All these columns are falling down, and all this bullshit's happening, and it's a big deal. Obviously, major characters get
mythological significance.
Mythologically significant characters Hercules kills Zeus. It's not like it's. I'm not saying that that's not a big deal, but the bigger deal to the show is Xena and Gabrielle, and sharing this intimate, beautiful thing. So that really pissed me off.
You know what would have worked better for me? If Ares had done it. Then it would have felt related to Xena.
Killed Zeus?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it would have helped a little bit. It would have been a little bit whatever, but yeah, that would have brought it to this show. It would be
about Xena.
Yeah, so it does feel like here especially is where you kind of get kicked with here's us doing Hercules nonsense, and over there Xena's having a baby. So when they do cut to it, it's great. So they cut back to her, and she's starts taking off the her arm
jacket.
Thingies and her jacket, and she's all
so
over the
pink.
place.
I love
She's
how
so
pink
flush
she
and
is.
pink.
she takes off her jacket. She's I'm cold, and meanwhile, little Gabs trying to be really supportive. She's being "You're cold, okay," just helping in any way, and kind of it does have some of your stereotypical birth scene stuff in it, where she's remember when you helped Effany have
oh my god,
baby?
that was
and she's
oh
please
my god.
be quiet.
Yeah, because she doesn't
Just
remember
shut
that
up.
horse coming out of her vagina.
The last thing she wants to remember is that image.
Yeah, and obviously Gabrielle doesn't want to think about her own child having in this moment, I suppose.
Yeah, but we, the audience, are thinking about it. It is in some ways, similar, where you have that sense of the heavens massing,
scary weather,
and freakiness happening, and it feels so ominous, even as it's this.
Well, they're both. Yeah,
experience.
they both clearly have these God-based babies.
God-based babies.
Well, Hope was some evil devil baby.
The
Dayhawk and Antichrist,
and now we have imagery that suggests Eve is a savior.
So that's fun. Anyway, but I just love the intimacy of it.
It's so nice.
Where they're just really smushed up against each other.
Oh yeah, Xena's just clutching Gabrielle's back.
It's real good.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it's. Ooh, it's almost violent.
Yeah, no, it's great. And before I forget, I just want to mention real quick, because obviously TV birth scenarios can be very unrealistic and, very by the numbers TV-esque. Many scenes are missing lots of important beats.
Yeah.
But there is one thing in this that I find really fun as a very slight detail, is that for so much of the scene, Xena's just wearing her pants, which is not helpful. And then at the very last second, Like, you see, like, this column fall, and you see them behind this column, and she's still wearing these pants. And then maybe, like, 10 seconds go by where you see Zeus and Herc fighting. And then it goes back to Xena and Gabrielle over the column. It's when it starts getting really scary. It's when Zeus is, like, coming at them, and it's slow-mo, and it's really like, oh,
that
shit.
That was a scary moment.
Also, I loved that Xena tried to send Gabrielle away. LOL. She was like,
God.
LOL, I'm fucking staying here.
That was so sweet.
That was great.
That was such a callback to old times.
Yeah. It's Zeus. It's scary. So anyway, you see them behind the column because, it's like strategically blocking the scenario. But you can see Xena's knee, and she has bare legs, and her knee is bare. So at some point in like a 20-second time frame, she lost her pants, which is great because like that was necessary. But it was just really insane how long those pants stayed on.
And then they came back on.
And then they're immediately on. As if they're okay to wear. And there's, nothing is wrong with the ground around. Everything's fine. But I appreciated seeing a sliver of her bare knee so that I wasn't, like, considering that she was wearing those pants that whole time. So, like something like Farscape where you have, like, Farscape, spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Like, Erin, cuts her, like, the pants that she's wearing. Yeah. It wasn't even like that. Like, she did take them off and then put them back on. Whew.
Can't ruin those pants, man.
That ominous shot where you see Zeus approaching as Xena is in the midst of, like, really hardcore giving birth. I love that musical cue.
Yeah,
It's a new one.
It's, all right, so the way that shot is so great because, we already mentioned Herc and Zeus are, like, fighting. They're actually fighting in this really cool setting, I thought. It was just like temple ruins.
Mm-hmm.
Very
thematic.
Yeah, very thematic. And I also really loved that Xena's giving birth next to this tree. So it's like this tree of life kind of like situation.
Tell me more.
So there's a point where like Zeus still like kind of like refuses to kill Hercules and he like knocks him out. And then he is like walking over to Xena and he has like the world's largest lightning bolt like ready to kill her. Literally at this moment, like the baby is like coming out, right?
This is it.
And there's these great shots, like shot of Zeus coming, shot of Xena turning to look, shot of Gabs turning to look, and like as you mentioned, the music cue.
Oh, Xena.
The most epic, I think, of that ever.
Good.
And I thought it was like a male choir, right?
Yes, yeah, male voice this time instead of the usual female.
Which is interesting. Like, why do you think that happened? Like, what does that mean?
Well, we certainly have a lot of men in
I
this
know,
episode.
but like ruin it.
I don't know. I just like that they're cheering her on, you know? And so, like, the baby vacates the premises.
I like that shot of that baby.
Yeah, a little baby covered in jam.
Gabs catches.
Yeah. And
that baby.
right there, Hercules is like, no! And he runs and tackles Zeus and then stabs the shit out of him.
But they had to shoot that with the second unit crew because Kevin Sorbo would not do it. He did not think it was in character for Hercules to kill Zeus, even though that's the whole reason his character is here in this episode. He would not shoot it, so they had to do it.
Are you kidding me?
You can tell it's not him. I just thought it was a stunt guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do it.
Wow. Even in his one, like, episode that he did.
Doesn't fail to be a dick.
He seriously divaed this?
Now, I know, we often talk about places where Lucy or Renee say my character wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but they don't go into their trailers and refuse to come out.
Yeah, I mean, this just shows how different this is, you know. They literally had to cut around this. And,
wow.
Cool.
They do a good job, though, I feel like, of establishing that he would do it in this episode.
That's what's weird.
I don't watch Hercules, so I can't speak to it, but I think that the episode...
necessary.
Did he not read the
does a good
script or,
job.
like, listen to the words he said as he acted? Oh, by the way, remember his tears? He cried. He acting.
Father!
Oh, boy. All right.
Well,
he's dead.
he kills Zeus, and the gods immediately feel it.
I love the brief cut of the fates snipping his thread.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very fun.
And literally, like, their world
Yeah.
rocks.
There's Aries makes a little like, all right.
He looks at his hands, which I
yeah.
thought was a
Yeah.
really beautiful way of visualizing that. Like, do I look different? Do I feel
Right,
different? Yeah.
Xena and Gabs, like, I feel like they could give, like, two shits about what was going on.
They better. They're me. They're us. They're like, ugh, don't give a crap.
Yeah.
But you do have this great kind of overhead shot of them.
Yeah.
Like, you have this sense of, like, some larger force pushing down on them, and they're cradling this little baby, this family unit under siege.
Yeah. So we find out that it's a girl.
Yay!
Yay!
Girl
So
baby.
I guess, like, if everybody was, like, assuming this was going to be, like, Jesus, for real, then they were assuming this would be a boy, but surprise, a girl. So yay.
Yay. And also it's Callisto, don't forget.
Oh,
forget.
right. Yeah. Never mind. No one was waiting for a little boy. Except for Joxer.
It's interesting how they've done this like Eli plot, and then they add elements to this plot. It's
Right?
fun.
It's real. I think it's really cool how that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, later when she's got the pants on and everyone's, like, sitting by the tree.
This is a nice shot where you have, the big tree of life, and on one side of it you have Xena, Gabrielle, and little baby. And on the other you have stupid Hercules sitting there being
Little baby's
sulky.
He's sulky.
Little baby's wrapped up in her jacket.
I love that the baby's
so
wrapped in her
cute.
jacket. Yeah, it's very sweet.
Herc does tell her that baby is beautiful. And she's like, yeah, I know. And he asks what her name is, and Gabs is like, "Oh, you already have a name." And
Right, and she was like,
she was like offended because
she was left out of the
She thought it was going to be
process.
Rochelle.
Yeah, but I think she accepted the explanation. Oh, should we mention that also this is like a baby that they had to hide the fact that it's not actually a girl.
Yeah, it was like a
that's
boy
why her
baby.
hand is the way it is in the scene where there's lots of weather.
It seemed natural to me
Yeah, it was
holding
just
the baby.
like,
that
oh,
way.
protecting this baby. But it was really like, don't look.
Isn't that how you,
like, bathe
I
naked
feel like
baby?
that's how you hold them when you bathe them, right? Or like at least baptize it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
That's really funny.
Doesn't matter, it's baby.
Yeah.
Cute little babby.
So Xena says the name is Eve.
Very Christian appropriate.
He's
Right.
read Genesis.
Solon.
Yeah.
Solon's read
Yeah.
He would have been able to. No,
Maybe.
I'm
yeah,
not.
he's outside time.
If he can read
Which is
in his outside
Or
time.
does he take after his mom? Who
If
cannot
somebody
read?
has some kind of, you could have heard a story.
yeah.
He would
okay.
have been. That would have been the thing. There was no paper,
right.
really.
Papyrus.
I don't know. I don't know what a normal person would have heard. Would have heard stories.
I have no idea how he can possibly.
I don't know how he
come
came up with
across
that
this
name. It's crazy, but whatever.
And
he
he
did
felt
it
very strongly about
very
it.
strongly about it.
He just the meaning of the word Eve, like Eve of a new, you know,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Era.
Eve like Twilight. These are appropriate
like Twilight.
words. Yeah.
So not Eve, like the one who was a biatch and ruined paradise for everyone.
right?
That Eve also.
Herc signals for Gabs to come with him so that like Xena could, have some like little alone time.
I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty classy of Hercules. I'll give it to him.
And then he goes to his trailer and won't come out of it.
Shit.
So she says some really nice stuff.
She starts with,
Oh shit! Hey baby.
What? I don't remember this. I don't remember that sounded like this. What is happening?
Gucci, Gucci, Gucci.
Oh, it's a joke. It's a callback to this episode.
No.
Oh my god. Are you done?
she says,
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I was totally gonna make that joke and then I forgot.
oh, I'm glad I reminded you.
She says nice stuff like how she's actually talking to Solon as well, right? Mm-hmm. And she's all like, "We're gonna be together forever and ever."
So nice. Aw. Together forever.
Forever.
Bless.
Nothing will ever split us apart, ever.
Bless
I'll be
this
with
thought.
you always, every second of my time. Definitely with you, baby.
I love that she does the you, me, and your brother.
Yeah.
And he's part of the family.
And it's cool because, like, you know, the dead can hear the thoughts of the living.
Right.
In
We know
Malaysian
for
fields, at
sure
least.
that's where he is now.
Yeah.
For sure they can hear that.
Wait, then why
Yeah.
would you want to be in the other place?
I
Just for
don't
the
know.
visuals?
But even,
of-
all right.
Yeah, just for the visual.
But is it weird if you're, like, sitting there in the Elysian Fields and suddenly you can, like, hear, like, these relatives
Being like,
saying
I'll be
stuff?
with you always. And you're like, wait, what's going on? I
Like,
thought
aren't
Mom
you
was
coming in an hour? Like, what's going on?
What if we
think
just
about
don't
it.
think about it?
Well, the scene ends with this really great crane up from Xena and Eve.
I love this. I love that she's rocking the baby and the trees
Yeah.
are swaying. They're all swaying like in unison with the
Right, and
tree.
there's like all this like light. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
Madonna and Child.
Right, and like the crane up, you know, I just cannot help but think of actual Solon's death scene, which was also a crane up.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
So it's just it all works here. It all
Yeah.
works with the previous episode.
Oh, and a vid. Oof.
And a vid.
Oof, that would be painful and
Yeah.
good.
Be
Very nice parallel.
And it goes into
The
to the
clouds.
sky.
which have now cleared. It's
Right, it's
reasonably
beautiful.
sunny. Yeah.
It's a very nice
It'll be
ending.
good times. The end.
Yeah.
And no more Hercules.
No
It's
more,
over.
yeah. Bye, Herc.
All right. Well, this episode is pretty good, all told. It has a lot of problems, and I can't overlook the Herculesiness. However, I do like it more than I did when I first watched it.
I agree.
Right. I agree as well.
And there's just like the beautiful moments in it outweigh that stuff. So
Right.
Yeah, it's like a lot of season 5, you have to take the good with the bad, but don't forget that the good really is good.
yeah, and we're in a good, there's halfway through season 5, it's pretty okay and good going for the rest.
Yeah,
except for
we're past the hump.
or interesting going.
Yeah.
Let's say.
I think RJ is going to come back in a few episodes. So
Nice.
we're really at light at the end of the tunnel
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
you guys. The Kurtzman and Orsi tunnel.
Yeah, I feel because even the so-called bad ones upcoming are at least interesting in a very extreme ways. So I am hard pressed to be like we're I feel like we're past the.
I think it's really funny that the last few episodes of the podcast
stretch.
we say this at the end of each one. Don't
I
worry,
know.
guys.
No.
It's getting better.
No, I think I literally mean it in the sense that I think the first half of the season was really trying and the second half is not so trying.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I mean, I'm already the fact that you have a juicy, dramatic scene like the one between Xena and Ares in this episode, that was great. That was just genuinely great character drama, and I
Right.
think that's what we've been missing in the show, and it's coming back.
Yeah, that's it. I think.
Yeah, we did it.
You can find us on the internet, xenawarriorpodcast.com. We are on Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe, rate, and leave reviews there. And we are on Twitter at XenaWarriorPod, and on Instagram and Facebook and Tumblr, Xena Warrior Podcast, and Patreon at patreon.com/XenaWarriorPodcast.
The power.
The passion.
The podcast!
Hey.